I got a good one for you today, sponsored by Wow Furniture. And as Les always does.
No, like this.
I don't know how to do that.
W-O-W.
The wow factor. Head down to Wow Furniture and check out Denver's finest selection of furniture, mattresses, and Colorado's largest rug gallery. Going on this week at Wow, you get 15% off of any complete leather group. This is the leather group, guys. Right off County Line Road and I-25, next to the Golfsmith. They're near Jared's Jewelry. Across from Park Meadows, just down from the Chick-fil-A.
I think I got it.
Are those product placements?
I think I got
it. Not really.
I-25 and County Line.
I voted for the Hall of Fame. The four guys who got in, we've already mentioned, three pitchers and Craig Biggio, who was 2 votes shy last year. I voted for them, and I think they're well-deserving. I think there are at least 4 or 5 other guys that I voted for, including Larry Walker, and that was a homer vote, but he's got to get like 10% and sort of stay on the ballot, so I'm trying to help him stay on the ballot. That's the truth of that matter. But the PED issue is the biggest one in the world. Bonds, Clemens, Sammy Sosa,
McGuire.
Mark McGuire. There's a couple of others that are on that list.
The Rafael Palmeiro?
Yeah, I think he's been eliminated. But the question is, what do you do about the PEDs? Last year, I voted for those guys. Not all of them. I wouldn't vote for Sosa if he hadn't used PEDs. That's the only way he got to be the point where he was. But Clemens and Bonds deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, how do we do this? How do we take care of this problem? Because the sports writers are not going to vote them. Well, you take it away from the sports writers. Who are you going to give it to? The players? They didn't even see a lot of these guys, so you can't give it to the president. Do you give it to players from that era? They're not going to vote for them if they didn't use PEDs because they're going to think they got an advantage. The interesting thing about all 3 pitchers that got in, they pitched during the PED period. I'm not saying they used them. There was never a hint of that. But they pitched against guys who were using PEDs. So that makes their performances even stronger than Randy Johnson. Imagine if he had pitched in this era. Clayton Kershaw, Randy Johnson couldn't touch him. He was one of the best of all time. I saw him his first year in spring training with Seattle, and I told Gil Whiteley, my friend, I said, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. Well, I voted for him, he is. So what is the solution? Do you give the vote to somebody else? Do you give it to an 11-person committee? Do you say, let people in? Kevin Blackistone said, you put things on people's plaques. They only batted against white pitchers, and that they played in an era where there were no Latin American players. No, here's the solution. Listen carefully. Add another wing to the Hall of Fame. We have a wing for the senior committee. We have a wing for the Negro League players. Why not a wing for PEDs? And have people vote and say, here's the list of people who use PEDs. Do they belong in the Hall of Fame? You say Bonds and Clemens. Put them in the PED wing, and you will laugh at that. But here's the key to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. It's a museum. So why not have a room and say, they have sports writers. They have a wing for sports writers. And
broadcasters, yeah.
Why not PEDs? Okay, I'll put Clemens, I'll put Bonds in there. And then at some point, if the senior committee wants to move them out of that wing and into the main room, fine, let them do that. That is actually a serious consideration. It's a museum. When you go to a museum, when I went to a museum when I was growing up all the time in Memphis, there were things in there that would not be allowed in public. A shrunken head. And I found it amazing. I was a little kid. How did they shrink somebody's head? Nowadays, if you put a shrunken head...
They left it in the dryer too long, obviously.
So I'm just saying, I think that we need to continue to search for solutions. And maybe the solution is that the Hall of Fame in baseball comes out and says, vote for everybody. PEDs are off the table. Just vote for the people. You know, at that point, I'd probably vote for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.